So, okay, there you go. Got it.
Okay, I guess, okay, now I got it. And I see Joe. So, okay, I think we're doing all right. All right. We'll call it, got a scratchy throat. I got call the meeting to order. Start off with the bank statement. Primary is $3,171.03. Savings is $17,587.92. And second account is $1,296.81. Mail report, important letters. David, I go. David,
David, are
I've
you
just
with
got a
us?
bill for you, nothing else.
Okay. This was supposed to also be emails, because are there any emails that are of concern that we should be notified of?
Yes, that's the second item. Update, sign up for scanning mail. Oh, no, that's a different deal. No,
I'm
it's a
sorry,
different- okay.
Joe, you're right. We need emails on here. David, or is there a responsible party for the emails, or is that just something that everybody reports?
I think it's open to everybody. There's a lot of people who get the info at ctv.org. So, you know, has anybody seen something that needs attention?
You know, there was actually something that I realized that only one person, when they sent it in, so it went into my junk folder, and I think that no one else saw it either. But most of all the others I didn't see any other info at CTV going into the junk folder. It was just this one person. So that, I think that happened to a few of us. And so that might be something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, but there were a couple of emails this time. You know, was there did anyone do a response to any of these? Because I didn't respond to any of the ones that came in this time.
I believe that, so I responded, I think that, see Peter here, I responded to Peter, and we were discussing getting some programs all submitted and everything. And then there was someone else who I believe went to the studio on Friday with Verna.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that Mike Schwab actually checked in after years of Tom and I telling him he needed to submit his programs to the channel. So apparently that has finally happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to Mike about it at a screening last weekend.
So that's what prompted the email. Well, good. Congratulations.
Yes, definitely. And then we need to sign up for the service of scanning mail. I haven't started on that. I haven't signed up for my own mail, but I'm not clear on how to sign up for CTV's mail, you know. So I'll have to look into that, I guess, see how to do that. See, website statistics report, users.
So we have had 88, so this is the last 28 days, which is the reports that I have. So we have had 88 users on the site. 45 people have clicked onto CTV from the search engine. And we have shown up on Google for search results 1,400 times.
Uh-huh.
And for YouTube, I actually went and changed some of the things I was going to share here. So in the last 28 days, we have had 26 views, 3 new subscribers, and we have had 2.3 hours of watch time.
All right. Good. See, new program submitted. Programs this month and numbers. Oh, you just said that, didn't you? Or no? No, you didn't. Yeah, so
I have a comment on that. I just gotta grab a
Mhm.
a little note here. So we did the shout out and we probably got, I just talked to John real briefly. We got 17 people to give a shout out. And then I said, well, how much time?
I'm so sorry, Verna. We do have a spot for that down a little bit later. But this is just how many programs we had submitted this month. I definitely want to hear about the shout out. I just want to make sure that
Okay,
you
well,
get
I
all
was
the
looking
stuff.
for the Mike Schwab thing. So let's say Mike put in about, I don't know, 8 hours worth, maybe 6 hours worth.
I'll go ahead and grab that out. I'll use the I forgot the name of it, the thing that Kevin got me set up with to use the computer at CTV through my at home. So I'll go ahead and grab that information out. Verna, is this something that you feel that you could maybe report on each meeting if I show you how to find that information?
Oh, yeah, on the program, you mean? On the,
Yeah,
sure.
so like getting the
Fun.
program, how many programs, how much like time they were, and how many producers have produced. I just thought that would be really good information to have each time.
Okay, sure.
Perfect. And new members, I believe that we have had 2 new members this month. And I don't believe there have been like, so of course, David, we had a volunteer request to be on the board. Welcome to your first full meeting, David. But I don't think there were any other volunteer requests. Did anyone see anything else like that?
I did not.
All right, any more? Okay, bank signers update. Yeah, we've got it all taken care of now. We've all been to the bank and we're now dealing with the assistant manager who seems to be competent. And so that we're all done there. So Kevin and Berna and myself were signed on to sign checks.
Is Bill off of it?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I assume so. I haven't,
I talked to Mercedes, who is the
Perfect.
assistant manager. I asked her specifically about Bill Loud, and he is no longer.
Yeah,
in the
good. Good. Well, at least you're not asking us about Bill Loud, so that's good news. Okay, good deal. So we finally got that job done. See, technical contact sheet.
I haven't gotten any new information.
Okay. And the death certificate update. I think I forwarded the letter I got from Bill Loud, and we didn't get any information that really helped us through that one.
Was David Eigel looking into that?
David,
David, you're on mute if you're. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you.
Great, great. Yeah, I don't have a definite answer, but I'm pursuing it.
Okay. Studio
Well,
business.
Can
Yes.
I ask for a little more information on what that means?
I gave
Yeah,
David
so I'll
the
talk to you
name-
offline after the meeting. We got a lot to get through.
I gave David the number for Tom's attorney and his name. So David's pursuing that.
Okay. Studio business, key update. No change. We're waiting to hear back from the city. Junk in the studio. Kevin, to speak to that, he's taken quite a bit out already.
Yeah, downstairs closet was pretty well empty. It's gone now.
Yeah, I saw the photo. There's a couple items in there. Number one is that makeup desk, okay? I've been trying to give that to Linda Burden Williams now for probably close to 5 years. It's been sitting there and she has not responded. So I don't know if you want to make another effort to get a hold of her or just get it out of there. There also is the makeup kit down there, although a lot of the makeup is probably past date, dried up and whatever. But there's an aluminum case and a bunch of stuff inside that, which I also thought would go, with her group. Mike Schwab's small film group might have someone doing makeup that wants that stuff. But like I say, it's just been sitting at CTV for more than 5 years. So
Yeah, Mike Schwab expressed interest in it, so we need to follow up and then have him do something with it. So I'll put down a note here to double check with Mike Schwab and hopefully we'll find a home for it that way.
Dan, can
Yeah,
I get, Dan, my hand's up.
Yeah, oh, I'm not seeing you. I see a V. Go ahead. Oh, I see your hand. Okay, the little, yeah, I
okay.
got you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna, you already got to it. We have already covered this and Mike Schwab, I said I would follow through. He has been offered to it. All he needs is a reminder to either remove it to where he's going to put it, or we can dispose of it elsewhere, because he's been
Yeah.
asked about that.
Yep.
He did want it and he did want the makeup kit as well. So maybe he forgot, but we can ask again.
Yeah, that's what I got written down here to check with Mike. Okay.
Well, just so we're
regarding
clear.
the stuff that's in the picture, there's some tripod legs. Those are left over from all that stuff that was donated to CTV and was there in 2006 when I arrived. Those things are from the days when cameras used to weigh 30 to 50 pounds. And so they're a bit of overkill, but if we need to make more tripods for cameras in the studio, I think there's a couple more up on the shelf upstairs. Did you notice those, Kevin?
Yeah, and I just haven't had a chance to go through them all, but that is why I kept the ones that I did in case they would be useful for this one camera we still have to put up.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I think we already have a couple more sets upstairs. So
Yeah.
you might make a decision about how many you actually want to keep. But yeah, I think some of that other stuff, I mean, between the desk and all of the other thing about all of those magazine racks, you described them, and the notebooks is St. Vincent or Goodwill will take them. I've brought stuff like that there before.
Okay. Any more discussion on the junk in the studio?
Just
Okay, then I'll
one
try and haul
final
those off
thing.
at some point then.
Yeah, just one
Yeah.
final thing. Thank you again for taking care of that. It's been hanging for God knows how long.
And I moved the lamps from the studio down in there after I was done.
I think we should probably briefly decide what we want to do with those.
Yeah, I sent an email to Neil Moyer asking him what the LCOG's position was on that, and he didn't bother to answer. So that's where we're at
Yeah.
on that.
All of that stuff that's in those piles, like the old scoops, and there's 2 more upstairs and there's a couple more in the checkout room. All of that stuff existed at the time that I got here. I take that back. Those silver ones that are in the checkout room were a donation. I don't know, it's got to be 10 years ago. So they weren't part of the original equipment. Now, what happened is that early stuff that was in all of that, Robert Lewis said, just if there's any property tags on them, just take the tags off and get rid of it. I don't know if there's been a change in policy since, but I think that's probably what we should go with. I don't know that there's any real value. You can offer them to one of the theaters in the area. Maybe some theater wants the lighting, but it really sucks a staggering amount of power. And but yeah, we probably, instead of storing all that junk, should just escort it out of the studio basically as quickly as possible.
Yeah, okay. Okay, next item, new max update. I think David, David D was going to help us with that, and I think he and Kevin have been coordinating on that, so that's in process, I'd say.
Kevin, haven't heard back. My biggest issue there, the biggest obstacle is that I don't have access to the studio without somebody being there with a key. So I need to kind of work in lockstep with somebody that can get me in.
Okay, well, David, why don't you send me like an email with some times that are available, and I'll see what I can do for you.
Okay.
I mean, like, this week, I'm not working this week, so this is like a goal, and and school's out and all that kind of stuff. So if you've got any time this week, that'd be good. Otherwise, I do something in the evenings after work or something like that. I just need to know when you're available. I'm still waiting on my winter schedule though.
One of the things you're going to have to do early in this process is to obtain some USB-C to DVI adapters. The most of the cables that we have go from what is it, the display port to those, and the new Macs don't have display port jacks on them, or plugs on them, or whatever you want to call it. So you probably, as a first thing, should inventory what you're going to need for cables, and then just order some cables.
So
Okay.
the monitors that we have use DVI connectors. Is that it?
Yeah, there's an HDMI connector on the back of the new studios, but apparently they don't work with all of the HDMI monitors. I had one that I used in order to load the first two machines, and it wouldn't connect to that, but I was able to get it to connect to the back of a television, and it worked fine, but it did not work with a monitor that I had. So apparently there's some incompatibilities with some types of monitors. So you may or may not be able to get a monitor that plays off the HDMI cable. And if you can't, you're not going to be able to do anything with the thing until you get a USB-C to DVI connector.
Let me know when you're going to be doing the studio stuff. I'm interested in getting in as well. I also have a lot of time in this next week. And if there's any cables and things like that that we are missing around the studio. I also have an IT husband who has absolutely way too many cables, and we have a whole closet full of like cables and computer stuff. So I can also search through there.
Yeah,
So
we're
just keep me
probably also
updated
going to
on that.
need cables for the migration as well. Kevin, just a heads up, this might have got buried in the thread, but on the 12th, I sent out an email saying that I was looking to be at the studio on 12/19 and a couple other days this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And also I addressed some of the issue about the cables there. If all else fails, I don't know exactly what models they are, but I have a lot of these dongles that convert, one type of cable to another for Macs, like especially the newer Macs that have the USB-C connection. I just need to know like the model of the Macs that we're working with, and then I can probably bring a lot of the stuff that we need. And if not, I can let the board know and we can talk about how to acquire those.
The specific answer is that they are the new Mac Studios, specifically the middle model. The one that has that has the same number of processors, but more graphics engines, was a lot more money. So we are the middle model.
I think that Verna was going to be at the studio this week, and I think she also would like to talk.
Yes, thanks, Fawn. I also have time the next 2 weeks when there's a dip in our, we have more freedom. So I have a key. I'm there today to do Democracy Now! I'm usually there on Friday. Perhaps we can make some sort of a little amendment that I could meet somebody there who needs to be there. this week, lend them my key and make sure I get it back on Friday so I can have democracy now. That might free up a lot of people when I would like, you know, a few days to myself after I go in today, and I'll be happy to go in on Friday. So how's that sound?
Verna, when are you going to be there today?
I'm negotiable when we're done here.
And
Okay.
David, I can meet up with you basically anytime today as well after the meeting.
Okay.
But you-
I can head over there around 4 o'clock, but I don't want to take up too much time coordinating on the meeting, so I'll reach out and chat.
Well, I think this is important, and I also think that you had plans, and so in support of your plans, you know, if anybody has a problem with me loaning out my key to David D this week, please speak now.
Well, there's cameras in the equipment room now, so my plan to steal everything has been thwarted, unfortunately.
Yes, I know.
Right, he'll need an
Okay.
alarm code
Thank
as
God
well, I
for that.
guess.
What'd you say, Kevin? Kevin, what'd you say?
No, that was David Eigel. I was just thanking God that, you know, his plan to
Okay.
steal everything has been thwarted.
Right, yeah,
He will need an alarm code. He'll need Verna's alarm code too, or
Okay,
somebody's code.
I can do that. I will surrender my alarm code and my key from today.
I got an alarm code when, so I didn't have a key, but when I joined the board, I was given an alarm code. I think that Dan sent that to me.
yes, yeah,
So David should have his
Yeah.
own alarm code, right?
yes, and I tried, and yes, and I asked for another one to the same person that I got all the other ones from, and then he sent me a note back and said, oh, no, you got to go through the facility department. So
Okay.
now I got to go through the facility department, I guess, and that's the ones I'm waiting on to hear back from on what they're going to do with us, you know, whether, you know, and that the whole gamut of that, whether we're, you know, the key thing, they're going to start charging us rent. So there's a whole bunch of things coming up that we're waiting on them.
I'd like to go ahead and give David D my code as well.
Yeah.
On a temporary basis until we can
Yeah.
figure out that, because I feel like this is more important than which
Yes.
code.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, hopefully we'll get to this pass card deal that the school is using everywhere else. We're the only ones that aren't using it. And so hopefully they'll get us into that. And then we can eliminate the code and the key and the whole thing else, everything else. So that's,
Well, we can't eliminate the key.
well,
because
yeah,
all
true.
the
Okay.
external doors
Yeah.
are keyed to that one key. So you'll be able to get in with the, well, I take it back. You need a key on the outside in order to open the door. But yeah, so you're not going to get rid of the keys by doing that.
Yeah.
But again, my code, there was a list of codes, okay? It's probably been lost. So we only have 2 or 3 left out of
No, those are all completely invalid. They should. We have all new code. Everybody has their own specific number right now,
okay.
except
my
for
old
David
code-
D. Uh-huh.
My old code is no longer useful then. Okay, good, we're done.
Correct. Okay. Security system update, Kevin.
I have not done any further work on the system this week.
Okay. Well, we've got 4 cameras. I think we have 4 cameras up. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we got it. Great. Okay, next item is the new LED lights order. I was ready to order that when my computer got hacked, so I'll be on that as soon as I can get it stabilized. Disposal of old lights. I think we've covered that. Black Magic battery pack proposal.
I haven't done anything with that. I'm sort of watching what's going to happen with the board. So before I put more time in.
Okay. Required programs submitted via Airtable.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dan. I actually put those in 2 spots, so we'll cover that. We'll cover that down below.
Okay,
The next two, so those two items. So
Yeah.
now we're down to programming.
okay. Programming, sound issue update.
The only update I really have that's relevant is last Thursday, I sent an email out to Neil Moyer requesting some sort of a tutorial or some sort of, education event on the head end. I also expressed interest in getting a tour of MetroVision and all that's possible for us at CTV. And I asked him to please, send his availability, if anything, and I haven't heard back. That's
Okay.
only the really big thing, other than,
Yeah. Okay,
what I
so-
already talked about earlier in the wrong spot. So anyway,
Yeah.
we've got new programs and we're working on getting help from our LCOG partner.
Okay,
And how's the sound issue going with that? Oh, I'm sorry, that was the next item.
what's that?
Oh, I was asking about the sound issue, but that was the next item.
That's what I thought we were talking about. Isn't that what we were talking about, is the sound issues?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
well,
that
well,
was
there
the
was
agenda.
programming is a separate item than sound issue, but Verna, how's the sound issue going?
Well, the sound issue remains unchanged until we figure out things like, I don't know much about, like file compression and I don't know. That's all I can come up with right now. So
And David D was going to help you with that, right?
yeah, at some point we'll get to more.
Okay. All right. New program submitted?
I'll go ahead and I'm going to take it out of this section and I'll just put it up above where I said I would get those before.
Okay, outreach, holiday market.
Holiday market went well. Just, brief recap, about 17 people stood up in front of the camera and had great things to say. The last one I believe we got was from the fire department about the importance of public knowledge of giving chest compressions to fill the gap between when the person is in crisis and needs compressions and the ambulance has not arrived yet. It was awesome. And so, yeah, I'm very happy about it. And Kevin came down and Hedda and John Duran were there. I was there. Dan was there, and we made great interface with the holiday/Saturday market people. They're very happy. They patrolled by and they had smiles on their faces a couple of times. So that's what happened.
Yeah,
Did you get any new producers?
no,
We solicited public interest, so I don't know. They were there shopping, but basically they were there shopping or having booths and came by and delivered messages. So we did direct a lot of CTV29.org. That's what we kept saying. We gave out business cards, which we need more of, by the way.
okay, does anybody, we know who did them for us before?
Well, those cards are left over since before I got to CTV.
I
Okay.
can design new ones and write up a amount that it was going to cost and everything. I can have that for next meeting.
Great.
Okay. Okay, let's see, nonprofit outreach. Anything new on that?
Yeah, actually, I've been talking, I'm waiting for a email back from Mecca, but I don't know if everyone knows what Mecca is. It's like a recycled art projects, materials and stuff like that. And so I was going to work on having them do some kind of shows and things like that and work on fundraising together. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them, but I'll report back next meeting.
Great, okay. Let's see, youth contest proposals. I think you can speak to that, Fawn.
Actually, Joe was the one in the meeting we
Oh.
had that said that he was going to do that. That's why I left it on here. I've been working on that proposal myself, but it's not in a spot to, I haven't sent it out or anything like that yet. So I was hoping to hear from Joe on that.
I don't recall having attached myself to that project. I indicated that I thought it was a good idea. But you need people who are going to, you need to get some traffic through the studio in order to organize a contest. And the question, there's a lot involved in trying to do this. In a conversation this week with David Eigel, he mentioned that Mike Dilley is still doing the Eugene Film Festival, though it had been defunct for a number of years. So that's another place where programming could certainly come from. It was suggested a number of times when Tom was there that we try to get the films from the festival. If they're doing it again, that would be another place to go looking for programming material, particularly the shorts. The longer ones, we may have some issues airing, but the shorts would certainly be an opportunity to give them more of an audience, and they probably would be positive on that thing. Although all the stuff with Mike Dilley just got massively confused and never seemed to get completed years ago. So hopefully someone else will be more lucky than Tom and I were.
Would you like to make a proposal about those and I can put it on the next meeting, or?
I don't really have anything to add except get a hold of Mike Dilley about the festival, and it's not something that I would be able to work on. So, you guys, I'm just suggesting that that's an opportunity if it still exists and he is still doing it. But like I said, it was defunct for a number of years.
Joe, can I ask you a question? What your thoughts are on the B shorts over longer? What would be the issue with the longer? Is that like,
I don't understand what you're saying. It has nothing to do with B shorts. It has to do with short films. It's a film festival. There are feature-length films there that they're trying to get distribution on. So there would be issues around that if they were broadcast on a television station prior to obtaining other distribution. So
Okay.
that's problematic. But all the short films that are on there, and there were a lot of them that were submitted, those generally people are looking for larger audiences, and so obtaining that material, the producers are generally more willing to expand their audience by allowing someone to broadcast the thing, as long as there's an appropriate opening and closing, giving the website and the rest, and we might be required to produce that and then insert the actual film between those two bookends.
okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Contracts and legal documents.
Oh, I had a thought,
Yes, David.
just for consideration and just analyzing what, the transition to all the cameras that other people have, and it's not so studio oriented as it can be, but there's all these people producing products. And so since it's very difficult to train people, get them producing and that. The other part is getting show product for the show is simply to examine where things are already being produced. Now, there's people who are out there able to produce them, and people are not sensitive to this. One of the things that I found in my own experience was that here you have somebody, we're funding the Lane County History Museum, but they do things digitally and have some things on their own website, but clearly they've created a lot of programming, and it's not getting, it would be an excellent way of distributing that. So just looking for things where there's already stuff that's been produced that could be easily transitioned over, I think would be worthwhile to consider. Just, I'm throwing that out there. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next item is contracts and legal documents. A is mission and vision for the future of CTV. Subparagraph I, goals.
This was, David D had requested,
Yes.
that we discuss the mission and vision for the future of CTV. And so I just wanted to let him talk on this area. And those were just a few things that he had mentioned in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I know there's a statement in the LCOG letter, but I think that we kind of need a unifying, if we don't already have it, I could be ignorant here, but if we don't already have it, I think we need a unifying mission statement. You know, the coalition to, you know, rebuild community television in Lane County is kind of a guiding principle, but it's not really a mission statement. And also, I would love to come to these meetings with a scorecard, so that we can report on, you know, incremental improvements and see the impact visually of the things that we're doing to drive community engagement. I do this in my day job all the time, and I can build a scorecard, but I would need input from the board on what metrics we would use to kind of measure our success. Historically, I've used a model called the 4 Ps, which is people, productivity, policy, and profit. As a nonprofit, I don't know how much we have to talk about the profit piece, but there are things like budget, spend, and shrink that we'd probably be, you know, want to be aware of. So things that we could track under people, you know, things like membership, website traffic, and social media subscribers. Fawn, it sounds like you have a pretty good grasp on that. Viewership of programming. Under productivity, you know, that's where we could measure content hours that we've accumulated, as well as studio use hours, to see how often folks are booking things, and measure that every meeting as we see it go up or go down, and what are the steps that we're taking to increase those metrics. For policy, you know, verifying that there's compliance with things like equipment checkout and studio reservations, that people aren't in the studio when they're not supposed to be, that they're not using equipment when they're not supposed to be. And for profit, you know, at the very least, I would say we probably want to monitor shrink. I've anecdotally heard about things having gone missing from the studio. If there's not currently at least a biannual, but ideally a quarterly inventory that's being done of all the equipment in the studio, I would say that's another metric we'd want to look at, is the compliance. Do we have, you know, 98% of the stuff that we had last quarter? What happened to that 2% of stuff? I think that would kind of make the board conversations a little bit more direct and focal on very specific things that are measurable and not based on kind of anecdote or ad hoc, basically.
I love all of that. Have you used a program called Airtable before?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I actually created a Airtable base, and I actually started a inventory in there, and I'm also already tracking a lot of these items in there. So you and I can get together about that later too.
So,
Victor?
Great.
Before
Yeah.
before we
Can I
leave
just-
that,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
yes, go ahead. You haven't spoken yet, so have at it.
Okay, well, I'm a new member and I had some of the same kinds of questions that David just raised, and as a person that just kind of found the community TV website and all that stuff. I've been down in Fresno previously, where I was part of their community TV. So yeah, it isn't completely clear to me what the mission is and what people are doing and all that stuff. No, I'm not throwing aspersions to anyone. I know how difficult it is to get these things and keep them going. So, but I did have some of those same questions, and I think those are all good ideas. And yeah, a quarterly inventory would be a good idea.
That's great. And Peter, I appreciate your input, because you have a prior experience with another community TV. That's cool.
So a couple things on the goals. There is a mission statement within the existing bylaws. And to summarize it, it means, what it says is that we will provide equipment and facilities and training to have people put programs on our channel. So the primary goal that we have is to produce new programming for our channel. Okay, so that's your fundamental goal. Okay, so anything that doesn't contribute to that is not part of the mission of CTV. So the second thing is, when I left to hike the Florida and Appalachian trails in December 2021, there were 2,700 programs in the library at the time. And though I have not been able to get into the studio in order to determine how much of that has come across, my understanding is essentially very little of it. So we have a bunch of programming. It's very old. A lot of it's probably dated, but it's certainly better than the, or more extensive than the library that we currently have. So it gives us more material for reruns. Tom used to, there was a large period where the production rate was very high. And so Tom kept, pulling stuff out, like church sermons from, there was almost 20 churches that were putting their
Joe,
sermons on
can
our
I
channel.
interrupt, please?
You've already done it. What do you want this time, Verna?
I would just like to read to our new member, Victor, welcome, what he was asking about, which is our mission, not, Can I read what our purpose is to our new member, is what I'm asking. I think
Can you do
you're
it
off
fast
with,
so I can finish what I was saying?
go ahead.
Okay, so we do have a library with more material, okay, which would expand what's in our schedule, but someone's got to take it across and load it. And, that's got to be done. I can't do it. Had I been able to come on into the studio, it would have been done months ago. Okay, so let's see. There was another thing in there. I'm trying to remember what it was. The interruption sort of brought me off my train of thought. I'll probably think of it later. But there is an existing goal, which is to put programs on the channel, period. Go ahead. I'm done.
Okay, it's short and it's sweet. Article 1, purpose. Section 1, purpose. The purposes of Coalition to Rebuild Community Television, hereinafter referred to as the corporation, are exclusively allowed for organizations defined under Section 501c3 of the IRS Code. Within these limits, the purposes of Coalition to Rebuild Community Television include to work together with people from all sectors of the public to rebuild, invigorate, improve, and then maintain high-quality community television channels and educational community television programming, and to make certain that this service is available to as many people as possible. Section 2, no discrimination policy. So,
Okay, so I'm
Thank
just
you.
curious to how that's different from my statement that the primary purpose of this organization is to put programs on the channel.
I don't want to get into an argument here, but I am going to say that one of the differences that I see is that it says that we are to invigorate and revitalize. And so that doesn't always mean that something that we do directly produces a show, but it contributes to the community, and having a better community of producers is going to produce more shows in the long run. So there's just a little bit more to it. Verna, I love that mission statement, so thanks for reading it. And I was going to say, David, if you would like to maybe write some more stuff out, and so we can all kind of like look at something, if you had some ideas about how to do some of that, or, you know, maybe if we're in the studio this week, we can kind of work on what it would look like, so that we can discuss it in more concrete details at the next meeting.
Yeah, certainly. I can put together like what a mock scorecard would be. And Berna, thanks again for sharing the mission. And Joe, you know, I think what you said was a summary of that. But I think that if we extrapolate from that mission statement goals that we can measure and compare and see how they track over time, it's one thing to say that we're going to do these things. I think it's another thing to actually execute. And if we have those goals defined and we see the delta between where we'd like to be and where we are, we can take actions strategically to say, here's what we can do right now to get the needle moving on those individual pieces, whether it's, you know, we're not getting enough content hours, we don't have enough viewership. It's a lot easier to break down the strategy of how we make that better if we kind of have those goals defined and we can actually see the delta between where we are and where we'd like to aspire.
I had one more
That's
question.
my recommendation.
The question was, are the bylaws posted to the website? Because they're the defining document to reach the goals that David just said. I mean, that's to define the scope of our abilities. So
I'm the one who's been redoing the website. I believe they are on there. But since you've been redoing them, I may have waited on that. And so I can get those sent out to you though. We have the bylaws as they are in place now. And then we have 2 versions of bylaws that are being proposed. And that's actually the next item on the agenda is to discuss the bylaws, I believe.
Thank you.
Just a point of information. In order to modify the bylaws, it requires a vote of the entire membership. And I believe in the existing bylaws, it's a 2/3 vote, but don't quote me on that last part. So in other words, we have to produce a set of bylaws from the board and agree on it and then send it to the membership, allow them to comment, and then we have to send it out as a final draft for them to vote in order to change anything. So the thing that Verna read was not from the existing bylaws. It was from
no, that was the existing bylaws. That was from the existing bylaws. That is what it is in there currently.
Okay, Ruby.
It was exactly that. I have the paper right here, right in front of me.
Good.
Okay, so we have 3 subjects: goals, orientation, and potential scoreboard. So do we need more discussion on this? Because the next thing is the bylaws themselves. So.
I believe that David was going to come up with like some mock stuff and kind of like see maybe how we, you know, develop it a little bit more so we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so moving along, and we are now into the bylaw discussion. And the main subject is listed. We have listed the lawyer proposals. I have 2 referrals for nonprofit attorneys, but they're both out of Portland. I haven't contacted either one yet. I've had some feedback saying, well, why do we need looking for a new attorney? We have an attorney. So any discussion on that issue?
I'm the person who objects to David Atkin. I think he misbehaved horribly. I am opposed to using him any further. Regarding
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, regarding the lawyer proposal, I believe that we need to work through the bylaws before we have someone start billing us at $300 an hour, because we are going to suck through a ton of money, okay, if we just let them take over and do this thing. And if that's the proposal, I am opposed to it, because we need to do some more work about the nature of how we are going to do the bylaws. One of the problems that we had, which of course people are denying ever happened.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt this right now because last meeting, we already had this discussion and we already had a vote. And so I would just like to bypass this this particular piece here. And because what we're talking about here is not, will we send this to a lawyer? We already voted on that. It's who
Enough, if
are
you
we going to
start
send it
sending
to?
money, you start sending money, I'm gonna have to notify LCOG that you're wasting money. Work out the procedures, work out the concepts, okay? Do we make them 31 pages long? When people wouldn't read 13 pages, are we gonna expand them to 31 and make sure that they don't read them at all, ever? Okay, is that the proposal? Okay, I think this is madness. And it's good that you're controlling it now, okay? But it still remains to be it still remains madness. If you give people something that's 2 pages long that outlines how this organization functions, they'll read it. You give them 31 pages, they will not read it, and then we will have more violations of the bylaws that will cause problems.
Any more discussion on,
Verna's had her
Uh,
hand up since before Joe started talking,
sorry.
so.
And when she's done, I'd like to speak.
I'm sorry, who was speaking? Who?
This is David Eigel. When
I know
she's
that.
done, I'd like to speak.
Okay, Fawn, you done?
I was just saying that Verna's had her hand up since before Joe
Oh,
started
Verna,
talking.
okay,
So,
I
yeah.
didn't see that. Okay, Verna,
Yeah, hi, thanks. So we are operating under the bylaws that we've had, regardless of the number of pages. We are not going to get any of this done before the election, the way things are going, either by Joe's plan to discuss his every complaint until we're like out of oxygen, or we're gonna like do what we voted on last time, which is to get help from our attorney, I'm hoping, because common sense prevails. I was asked to send an email out, which I did. I have not heard back yet about, can you help us? Will you help us with this, first of all? Second of all, this is the X amount of pages in 3 categories. We want a review. We want a price tag for your review and suggestions. We also want to know what an hourly rate is, because we have concern about how much money we're going to spend. And then finally, after everything is sent and done, we will be sending back some sort of a final draft for you to once again give your 2 cents worth on, or $300 an hour, whatever it is. It is a legal review, which we need. And there's a segue later, I know, into what I've asked for. I went out of my way to say last week, we're in the weeds. We are wasting time. We are burning my personal daylight and everybody else's personal daylight. So again, another diversion to the point of the goal, which is to secure this organization, prove to our allies that we are doing the right thing. We were only asked to amend our bylaws. We are sending a template, which in 2022/23 happens to be 31 pages. You, Joe, have submitted 5, 4, 3, 2, I'm not even sure how many pages are left. And then we have our original. So from here until anything really changes, we are under the bylaws that we already have. Second of all of this affects our LCOG contract. So I don't want to hear any more threats about how you're going to go outside the color outside the lines, Joe, because that is not in the best interest of this organization. And I'm done.
okay, Verna, did you say you did send an email to
Yes.
Atkins?
To
And you
David
have not
Atkins'
heard?
office, I sent it in last Thursday, and before the meeting, I checked my email. I have not heard back. I'm happy to follow up with a phone call if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, I'm thinking to me though, at this point, we just ought to settle it, whether what we're gonna do about an attorney. I say we should go ahead and make a board vote and see where it goes. Any discussion on that one?
Yes, I'd asked to
Yes,
speak
David.
after Verna.
Yes, go ahead,
Okay.
David. Yeah.
Okay, to Joe's point of $300 an hour, which is a realistic number, ballpark number. we need to thrash out the bylaws ourselves. It's not a lawyer's job to do that. That's our job. If after we have completed our job, we want to send it to a lawyer for a quick review, that's fine. But, you know, we have no business sending this to a lawyer to do our job. We have to do our job first. Because there are policy things involved here that are not a lawyer's, I am a lawyer, that are not a lawyer's choice to make. Those are our choices. We should discuss them amongst ourselves and settle this. And then if there's a legal issue, then send it out for review. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Dan, I have my hand up again.
Yes, oh, yes. Verna, go ahead.
Okay, directly to David I, then why haven't you like helped us? All you do is like not help and you abstain. And I know you have a legal degree to protect because you're not a nonprofit expert. You've said that numerous times, but here we are in the weeds where Joe's been allowed to throw all this stuff in there and take away members' rights. Let's just say, for one example, members' rights are missing from his document. You haven't signed on or off his document. You haven't really helped us. We've wasted lots of time. And now you're saying, oh, continue as we have been. I don't agree with that.
Well, that's fine, but why do you think it's a lawyer's job to conduct policy for the board?
Because we can't seem to agree on anything because of so much obfuscation. We were asked to update by our attorney on record. We were asked to update, not decimate, and then fight out a decimation. And I don't believe people were actually, our members were actually asked to read the bylaws. Maybe if we asked them, they would read however many pages that is required.
Well, Verna, you've asked me a question. And
Okay.
the question is, I have so much time to devote to things. And I've disproportionately assigned time to Channel 29, even though I have some very pressing responsibilities, including looking after people who are ill and things like that. And I don't have a choice on it. As far as if time permitted, and it may in the future, I can go through things line by line and help people. We can have a circle focus on things and take in and take out. But that's our job. That's not a lawyer's job to do that. There's no reason we can't do that. Thank you.
Okay. I
Yes.
agree. There's no reason we can't do it, by the way, but I'm tired of arguing the minutiae when, you know, we can move forward a little bit faster than we have been.
I think it'd be great if we move forward and if
Okay.
people would, well, anyway, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead, David. You talk
I'm
to your
just saying
son.
we can do it. I think we can do it. We just need to have a very structured focus on this item, line by line, saying this doesn't belong here, or it does belong here, or this could cause a problem, or this won't cause a problem. Thank you.
Dan, you have two hands up, first Joe and then Fawn.
What's that, David D?
You have two hands up. The first was Joe and then
Oh,
Fawn has her hand
Joe,
up as well.
okay. Yes, Joe.
Okay. Do I have a mute on? Can you guys hear me?
I can
Yes.
hear you.
Yes.
Okay, because it says mute on my thing. Okay, I was accused of not telling people about the bylaws, and that's been done multiple times. There was a pile of bylaws and of the rules and regulations for CTV that Tom maintained in the office. And every time a new person would come in that Tom dealt with him, he would give them a copy of the bylaws and of the rules and regulations, okay, and tell them to read them. I did the same with people that I processed as new members at this studio or at the time that I taught classes. So do not tell me that I did not tell people to read the bylaws and the rules and procedures, because I did.
All right. Well, it seems to me then we just need to start working on the bylaws, I guess. So,
May
So-
I speak? I had my
yes.
hand
Oh,
raised.
yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I got you. Go ahead. Yes.
what I just wanted to address the whole idea about the bylaws being too long, or the language being too much for people to read, so people aren't reading the bylaws. I don't think that it's a bad idea really to have a shorter document, a 2-page document, where it has a review of the bylaws, a summarization of the bylaws, saying, in this section, we say, this is how an election works, but there's a reason that they're this long. There's a reason, like there's just things that need to be included to have all of the safeguards and things. And I just really think it's a bad idea to shorten a document simply because we want everybody to read it. The bylaws are there as a way, this is how we run the organization. And if anyone needs to know how that organization is run, they can go to those. And if you want to have a shorter list of it, like in the style that Joe has done, I have no problem with that. The problem that I have is that would be the main document, which is then missing so many pieces. Dan,
Okay.
I believe that there's 2 more people with their hands up now.
Well, for some reason, okay, I'm not seeing that, so. yes.
It's myself and then Victor. Victor, if you want to
Okay.
go ahead, I'll let you go first.
Thank you. I would just say, and I have experience being on nonprofit boards as well and running organizations, and I think that's a good idea. I know it's not necessarily my place to add 2 cents here, but as a new community person coming in and someone interested in the board and interested in what was going on, there was not much information available to me. So that's why I'm interested in the bylaws and reading them. But a document that would tell me in 2 pages what the mission is, how everything operates, what the goals are, I think that's an even more valuable thing. And as just a community member, most of them probably aren't interested in the bylaws or would need to read them. It's really the document that controls the legal organization, which the board runs, as I understand it. So I think that's a good idea to have a short, readable document that spells out what the legal requirements are and all that, but doesn't go into the detail of all the legal rigmarole that you got to deal with. But starting with that 2-page document will then tell you if your bylaws will allow you to hit those goals that you have. So that could be helpful, a helpful place to start when you're looking at your bylaws to say, what do we want this 2-page document to look like? Will our bylaws let us get there?
I might even have a better suggestion, Victor. That's really good insight as a member. That's valuable. One of the line items that I was going to speak to today that kind of got glossed over, that was kind of my fault, was speaking about orientation. And I think orientation, Kevin, you led my orientation, nothing against you. I learned a lot, but it was kind of self-guided, where you asked me what things I was interested in learning in the studio. I think if we had a more structured orientation curriculum that just welcomed new members in, that was done regularly, that had very specific topics that we went over, we could disseminate all the critical elements of the bylaws in that orientation as kind of a, getting everybody together in the studio in a room, and, with learning content, a PowerPoint slide, whatever method of delivery we want to use, and saying, these are the critical things that you need to know about how we operate as a body and a statement of work. And I would include that as part of the orientation, as opposed to just strictly focusing on, cameras, equipment, editing suite, all that kind of stuff, which is great. But I think that would make people feel more like they're part of the community as a member than just, here's a studio, here's all the equipment. And I think it would drive people towards wanting to work with the board as part of this body that wants to achieve these things as the coalition.
Somebody has a hand up?
I just lowered mine.
Oh, that was yours. Okay. Okay,
And I'm gonna make a comment, just a final wrap up on my brain thoughts for the moment.
okay, uh-huh,
You're so excited. In my 20s, I became an executive director of an environmental school and worked my way up from in the field, getting muddy, like, you know, getting in the dirt, all the way up to like being in a position where we are now. And I think that since we are coming out of the dark age, we have like this really hot new website, and we've got people that, really know their stuff. I think it's just, if we can think out of the box, and I, like, for me, for example, I'm so like hot to trot for CTV. I would love to like lead, like, okay, so say in January, by the 21st, if you join, you can come down here and you can get on a tour, and Verna will be there and Fawn will be there and whoever else wants to be there, and we can answer your questions and take you through, as David D just suggested, the bullet points of what you're getting into, what your expectations are, how we can support your dreams, kind of thing, because that's what it's really about. It's TV dreams. And so here we are, and just to move our thought process into what's possible with the use of technology, and then the people that can come in to support each other around that. So I love that idea, David D. And I think it's very progressive of us to like get out of the pencil and the notepads and into the future. That's it.
okay, so so I guess we need to start working on the bylaws. So anybody want to start out on that one?
I think that we do have a few other things that are really important to get to in this meeting. LCOG, as well as the proposals. I submitted one, as well as David D, that we wanted to get to. I just don't want to take up the whole meeting. If you guys want to schedule a special meeting like we did for LCOG for the bylaw discussion, we can definitely do that.
Okay, I'm just going by the agenda here, and bylaws is first, and then LCOG. So we can move on to LCOG if we want.
I
I'm
was more saying that we should either plan on scheduling a separate time, or because what we had said was going on for this was we were going to discuss, where the lawyer that we were going to send it to. We've had these 3 versions for a while now. I've even put together documents that show the differences side by side. And I'm just not really sure. I think that part of the reason that we had said, let's just go ahead and send this out to the lawyer, because we're not getting anywhere. We have tried to sit down and go line by line, and it doesn't work. That's the concern. And then the other concern was, I don't want to spend this entire meeting dealing with this one thing when we have a bunch of other things as well.
Well, so where do we go from here? I mean, we could schedule, we could designate a special meeting where we only talk about one subject, I guess. I'm open. Where do we go from here?
Actually, I think that something that might be really useful for this is the proposal that David D has. So I think that the proposal that he has put in would be a really great solution, that we can all work on this outside of this meeting. And we can even vote on things, and we can do all kinds of stuff in there. So I'd prefer to table this and move on.
So you're saying you want to table, okay. So we're table the bylaws and go into the LCOG. Is that what you're saying? All right.
Yes.
Make a
Anybody
motion.
comment?
Gotta make a motion.
Okay. Okay, I'll make the motion. I move that we table the bylaws for this meeting and work on LCOG. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any more discussion?
Sorry.
No problem. All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Kevin says
David
aye.
says aye.
All opposed? Did you get the count, Fawn?
Yeah,
I'm David Eigel, I'm an aye.
I believe that everybody said yes, so
Yeah.
that was unanimous.
Sounded like it's PT. Okay, good. All right, then we'll move on to LCOG. Let's see, first subject under LCOG is edits needed.
Last meeting, we took a vote to use one of the versions that had been proposed for the letter. And so this was just, I don't see that anyone has gone in and done any edits. I did change a few things up in the letter. Took out the YouTube proposal, but it doesn't look like anyone has actually done that. I again think that this is something that we can work on outside of the meeting using David D's suggestion here.
Okay, any more discussion on that?
Yeah, I actually had a question. So I don't have the material in front of me, but we've been sitting on this for at least 3 weeks, maybe, right? 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
It's 40 days right now.
40
Today is
days.
day 40.
Okay, great. So have we sent an email or some acknowledgement that we've received your document and we're evaluating or anything like that? Have we actually acknowledged receipt?
Not to my knowledge.
Can we please do that? It seems irresponsible not to.
What about that? So in the one where I have the letter, I started off with the letter to them. That's 1 page. And just kind of detail some things and say, I'll go into it below. What if we say, instead of I'll go into it below, we say, we are working on sending out these to you. And then we could just send that first page to them so that they know that we have it and that we've been considering it.
That's okay with me, sure.
Okay, any more discussion on?
Yep.
Yes, go.
I don't like your letter, period. It's not a good letter. Sorry, it's not a good letter.
What's wrong with the letter in your estimation, Joe?
It's top to bottom, line by line. I object to pretty much every sentence in it. I don't think it's realistic. It's not giving an accounting of our actual current status. I don't think it's an adequate letter at any level.
How about we go ahead and we just make a quick memo right now? Let's like whip something up and write out like, hello, LCOG, we've received your contract proposal. We are evaluating and, working out some issues that we have with the current form. I don't know.
Or something like we're working on our bylaws, we're working on the LCOG contract, and we have a contract coming, a proposal for contract coming up from 4J. So we are very involved in trying to get in compliance with everyone. Something to that effect, I would guess.
Yeah, I agree that it should be just some, at this point, since, we don't have unity. I think what we need to do is just get to Verna's point. She's right. We should respond and just very, very succinctly say, we acknowledge we've received, and this involves many things, however you want to say it. And we're preparing a response. Just however we get there, just leave it at that at this point in time. So we have acknowledged that we're looking at it and working on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Fawn, would you be able to, or would you like?
Do you want me to just like come up with something like, so we can just say, the dear LCOG, the CTV board has received the proposed contract. At this time, we are
Reviewing
reviewing and updating many
and
documents.
discussing and
Okay.
discussing.
Updating and discussing many documents, including this contract. We will forward our proposals to LCOG, to you, okay, to you, as soon as, or,
ASAP.
we will forward our proposals to you, when we have prepared them. Or something, I don't know. We will
I don't know
forward,
if you want to throw in a line about just that we're making it a priority, just to show that we're.
perfect.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You
We
might wanna say
recognize that
actual-
this LCOG contract is a high
Sentence
priority.
is not necessary. Sentence is not necessary. And the sentence that we should add is that we have now met 5 times in order to discuss this.
I don't think that's necessary.
Saying it's a priority,
Whatever.
fine.
We recognize that this contract is a high priority and are working urgently, because we have this at the top of our list. You know, we have had many meetings about this. We're working urgently to prepare it. We will forward it to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, I would say,
Have any comments or concerns, please let us know, maybe, as a close.
No,
no, not
no,
at this
don't
point.
ask for that.
No.
Okay. Okay.
I think Fawn should go ahead and put the letter together, send it out on the email to all the board members, and we can vote on nay or yay or nay on sending it the way it is, or, you know, that kind of thing, and just get it done.
Okay. My comment right now is half the number of words.
What's that, Joe?
My comment right now, given what I listened to, is that half the number of words would be better.
Okay, as short as possible, in other words, okay. Yeah, okay, so
So can
I'll,
I ask a question? Why is it, I mean, do we know their expectations to get our, to get back to them? Or we
Well,
just-
this, Verna, this situation has been there for years, so as long as we made it clear we're addressing the issue, I don't think, that the barn's gonna burn down.
Okay. I just want to know if the barn's on fire. That's all.
Barn's been on fire for a long time, Verna.
Okay, all right.
so I would make a motion that Fawn compose a letter and send it out on email to other board members for review and possible suggestions on content. And then we'll get it so we can get to it as soon as possible. Yes, Vernon?
No, I think that's going to get us in more weeds. I was interested in letting LCOG know before like the holiday season, which is upon us, that we are actually working hard to like get through all of this. So can we just vote on like what Fawn put together? I mean, if people have talked about it, what else do we need to add?
Okay, so what I have now, I just changed it up a little bit. The CTV board has received the proposed contract. At this time, we are reviewing, updating, and discussing many documents, including this contract. We recognize that the LCOG contract is a high priority and we'll forward it to you, or we'll forward suggested changes to you soon.
We don't get to edit their contract. That needs to be removed. We are reviewing your contract, but we are not editing it. Okay, we do not get to edit their contract.
Yeah, no, just say forward our response or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah, and I wouldn't even
Forward
talk about rewriting
a
all the
response.
documents. We are reviewing it and we will forward our response as soon as possible. Half the number of words.
Joe, I honestly don't understand your whole thing with number of words and number of pages, and it's,
I agree.
the
You clearly
CTV
don't.
board has received the proposed contract. At this time, we are reviewing, updating, discussing many documents. We recognize this LCOG contract is a high priority and will forward our response to you soon.
Why the sentence about reviewing and updating documents? It adds nothing to it, but fine, you write it up that way, I'll vote against it.
I make a motion that we send this to LCOG as a response. Do I have a second?
I
A
second.
second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Kevin says aye.
David D says aye.
I'll go ahead and say aye. Although I would edit a little more, but what the heck?
I'm opposed.
All right, so we
Okay,
have 6-1.
Excuse me, I just like to say, David Igo, we had more discussion, so you can edit it more. So what the heck? Go ahead and edit it more.
Well, I mean, I would just limit it to the contract. I would take out the stuff about other things, just saying we're,
Thank you, David.
and then just directly spot on. And to your point, you got a good point, Verna, about concern about lagging, but their heads over at LCOG are already in the holidays, so don't worry.
Dan, I'll go ahead and send the wording that I wrote down here and read off to you, and I will let, are you able to then make contact?
I'm sorry, say it again.
If I send what I just read out here and wrote down,
Yeah.
if I send that over to you, can then you go ahead and
Yes.
take care of that? Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay, we're looking at 2:00. So so
We have 2 new items, right? We can move on to the,
yeah, I
And
think
just
so.
so you know, I don't have, my daughter's not in school, so I don't have to go in a couple of minutes.
Okay. So yeah, we've got another, let's see, yeah, the designated time, at least another half an hour. So next subject is table discussions, new business. Subparagraph A, not a safe environment.
I believe that was
Yeah, but-
Joe's proposal. Joe had, he wanted to put it off last time. Didn't know if he wanted to discuss it today or wanted to move it off again.
I think the discussion needs to be completed. It was not completed before because it is an accusation that CTV is discriminating. So once we have an accusation of that, we have to respond to it. And we have not completed that discussion. We can do
Is
it
that
now.
something you want to do today, or do you want to put it off?
I was talking. We can do it now, or we can postpone it to later on the argument that there are other things that are more important. I can go either way on that. Someone make a motion.
so I have, I need more information. So we're talking about not my input back in March, but Fawn's more recent input about the same situation, right? So we've had a discrimination, unwelcome problem for a long time. So I want to know where this line is for discussion.
I think they're all the same thing, Verna. So the item that was there, which was internal communications, which kept getting tabled, was removed from the agenda, and I'm not happy about the fact that it was removed from the agenda.
What was removed from the
I'm
agenda?
confused, Joe. Could you just tell me? I mean, seriously, I'm in the, I don't know what we're talking about right now.
That's probably true.
Very funny.
Well, if we're talking,
From
it
the
seemed to me
agenda.
this, it
No,
seemed to me
no,
this,
no. What he says was removed from the agenda, and then I'll be quiet. I don't know.
I specifically said the item about internal communications internally and externally with CTV. Okay, that's been on the agenda since you put it there back in March, and then it has been recently removed. Okay, and should still be on the agenda because we have not completed that discussion.
Okay, well, let's get it back on the agenda because I agree with you on that. We have a lot of HR and interpersonal communication stuff to deal with.
That's
so
correct.
now we're back, are we talking about bylaws or alcohol at this point?
They're
Bylaws, I
related,
guess.
but we're talking about is not a safe environment at CTV. Okay, because there were claims that CTV was an unfriendly, unwelcoming environment. And the question is, define exactly what that means and what would have to change in order to make CTV a welcoming environment. Okay,
Great.
so I have
will-
some energy. I'm not done talking, Verna. I have some energy around these things, okay, because I was accused of all kinds of stuff. And so I would like to complete that discussion, which we have for 10 months not been able to complete.
I would second Joe's, wanting to finish up on that. The question is, when do we do a special meeting about it, maybe? I'm not sure, but I agree, Joe. It's an important issue and you deserve a chance to work it out.
Well, I guess we can go forward and try to get to it now.
Since it wasn't on the agenda officially, I suggest we table it till another time.
I will,
It is
if
on
that's
the
a
agenda.
motion, I will second that motion and put it on the agenda, and we should be talking about it.
Well, it is on the agenda and we are talking about it. So what's the point? We can talk about it now or put it on the agenda for another time, I guess.
Yeah, David
So-
just suggested tabling for the moment.
Yeah.
And I seconded that motion.
Yeah, okay, we have moved and seconded. Any more discussion on that tabling? If not, all in favor of tabling the safe environment issue, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Kevin says aye.
Say, everybody voted?
yes.
Anyone against? I think we only asked for the ayes, but did everyone say yes?
David, did we get
I
your vote
said
on
that
that?
I had my eye in there also.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Okay. Moving on, this is, C, okay, F paragraph B, vote to remove John Duran.
this was Joe's motion.
Joe?
We should probably table that as part of the discussion regarding a safe environment and people's behavior.
I move we
I'll second
table it.
that.
I
Okay.
second.
Second, okay. Any more discussion?
Berna, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say, I can move on from this one this week. I'm more interested in what's coming up next.
Okay. All right, so, okay, so all in favor of tabling, removing John Duran, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay.
Unanimous again. We're on a roll today, guys. All
Do
right.
we
Alright.
want to classify the John Duran issue as a sub item under the safe environment so that we don't have to vote on it separately going forward?
I don't agree that they're the same issue.
Okay.
Personally, I think that they need to be
I,
kept
I
separate.
don't care. Although the safe environment thing should probably be discussed first.
I agree
Okay.
with Fawn. There's an intersection, but there are also two buckets of discussion.
All right, so moving on to paragraphs FC in the agenda. Nonprofit directors insurance. Verna?
Yes, given the last couple of meetings and how can I say this succinctly, since we have a new person here, so it makes a little bit of sense that there is such a thing as directors and officers insurance, where I was not really aware of all of that. And given that there's been discussions of how we can get sued and one lawsuit would wipe us out, and how are we going to get good people in the future when the people in the past have felt like they could get burned, I was just thinking we should have a discussion about it. And the thing is that it's seems like a good idea. And it was a reference from the actual Attorney General office on that document that I sent out a few months ago. It was one of their, for more information or related to. So anyway, that's the thread I wanted to pull today.
To be clear on this now, this is insurance that that the studio would pay for. Is that right?
Yeah, the organization, yes.
Okay. Do you have any idea of the cost?
No, I didn't, because I sent out references that maybe we could start a discussion on this.
Any more discussion? Anybody want to discuss that?
Yep.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. What this would do is it would indemnify the people on this board. In other words, that that there would be insurance to cover lawsuits based on the misbehavior of people in the organization. As long as you are not doing things which are against the LCOG contract, the 501c3 enabling legislation, the PEG access enabling legislation, or the bylaws and the LCOG contract, you don't have a problem. But the thing is that over a period of time, there were violations of all of those items, okay, which people in this group deny ever happened, but they did happen. Okay, so the question is, how much do we want to pay in order to get an insurance policy that would pay for the legal fees of people who violated those laws? Okay, I'm not in favor of that. I don't think we should spend the money. I think it's a waste of money. That we should just simply conform to those 4 items and life will be good. That's what we've done since 1997, 25 years.
Okay,
I-
David,
Yeah.
with your legal experience, you comment on
Yes,
that?
there's, to Joe's point, there's, substance to that, but there's another factor here. And that is that there's something called a lawsuit, which you can be completely innocent or marginally innocent or whatever, and you still get sued, whether you're guilty or not. And then
Yep.
one of the key reasons people keep this and all other kinds of insurance available is to be, I carry $1 million liability policy, general liability. Because if I'm sued, I can then go get an attorney to defend me. And I don't have to come up with $50,000 to do that. So I think it's worthwhile that we explore it and check on the costs and then discuss it at that point.
Mhm.
Thank you, I agree. I think it's worth looking into, and if you investigate the information, I sent you 2 different resources. If you can look at that, the reasoning is fairly sound. I don't know what the cost is, because you know, then there's a discussion about who do we buy the insurance from? So I didn't want to get in the weeds on that, but I'd never heard of it. And, you know, so anyway, David, I'm glad to hear that you think it's a viable issue. to
Well,
do.
yeah, it's fine if you want to consider, but obviously, like anything you want to buy, what's the cost?
Bingo.
I've
Yeah.
had my hand up. I just wanted to,
Dan, I'm in the queue.
so what I wanted to say about this was, number one, it was part of the LCOG contract that they wanted us to have this on there. And so I think that it's really important that we look into it. And I would really like somebody to take the initiative and offer to put together a couple of quotes on this so that we can get some sort of an idea of the costs that we're looking at.
David, do you want
Okay.
to go ahead and do, I know you're
No,
busy.
you're not in the queue. There's one more hand up and then mine, and then you get to speak. Okay?
Mhm.
Well, whoever's next, go for it.
So I was involved in an arts organization in Fresno. We got directors and officers insurance. I would not join the board of an organization without it. So just because of the opportunity to be sued, it just really is there to keep other people from suing you primarily, especially for an organization that doesn't have a lot of public interaction, or you're not dealing with cash or any of the other dangerous things. But I can do that. I can also reach out. I'll reach out to my old organization and I'll send an email. I'll just find out who they get their directors and officers insurance from. And I might be able to get that to you this afternoon.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you bet. Yes, Victor, that'd be great. Also, I'd be curious, kind of curious what they had to pay too, I guess.
I think it was under $1,000 a year.
Okay.
And they moved $80,000 through the streets of Fresno in March, which was a little risky, putting on public performances in non-venues. So there was some risk.
David D, any comment on the discussion there?
I don't, but Joe has his hand up.
Oh, Joe, I'm sorry, Joe.
For your information, we are now sitting on roughly $50,000 worth of usable equipment. And we also have a bank account in excess of $22,000. So yes, there are things that that are at risk. Okay. So again, the question, if you want to put a proposal together, Verna, okay, put a proposal together, and that includes getting the price.
Fine, that's fine. I'm happy everybody's interested. I'll go for that.
So it looks like we need to table, I'm sorry, Fawn, do you speak? I thought I heard
Yeah,
a voice.
I already spoke, and I was just saying that we should have someone look into this, and then Victor said that he'd be able to get some more information to us. And it looks like Verna can go ahead and put together a proposal for the next meeting, and so we'll make sure that it's on the agenda.
So do we need to table that then?
I think we just have a consensus that Verna and
It sounds like it.
Victor can move forward. I
Okay.
mean, do we need to take a vote on that?
I don't think
No,
so.
not really. If somebody's just getting information.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
we really need the pricing information more than anything.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'll send out an email right now to a couple of my contacts.
Thank
Okay.
you, thank you.
Yes, definitely. So, okay, then moving on, see, we've got FD subparagraph I under submitted proposals, website community via discourse hosting.
Did everyone get a chance to take a look at that?
I
Because I
know,
sent
I
it
guess
out
not.
before the last meeting, and everyone said they hadn't looked at it. And so we tabled it for this meeting.
Yeah, I haven't, I know.
So should we at this point then go over
table
what
it
the
again.
proposal is?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, let's do the proposal, please, because I haven't looked at it either.
That would have been
So,
before my time, Fawn. So if you could send that
yes.
to me, yeah.
I think I sent you a whole list
Okay.
of things, and I think that it was in one of those.
Gotcha.
So basically I kind of incorporated both of these proposals on the list here into one. One is the membership plugin and the other is a hosted forum. They are both yearly memberships. They both have nonprofit pricing. So it would take I would need to get some information to be able to secure the prices that I'm quoting here. The membership plugin would allow us to separate parts of the website for members only. It would allow us to keep the membership roles, and then people would be able to go right onto the website and renew memberships there. It is $179.50 per year. It also has ability. So basically, if you would go to the website, you would see a very simple website. On the front facing of it, you would have all the required information would be out there, the about us information, all of that. But then you would get the option to log in as a member, and then you would be able to see all of the information. And what it also comes with the ability to create online courses within there, and it works with a number of other plugins to be able to create a lot of really great things. And I think this is something that would be really helpful for CTV to manage membership and also to provide other things on the website. And the second piece of this is that would go along with this that you could only get to through if you are signed into the website. And it is a hosted forum. It is $120 per year. So that's $10 per month. Someone else hosts the forum on their servers. And then we have this, and it's a login. We can make it so it's login only just for our members, and people would then be able to post on there, and they wouldn't have to sign up for something like Facebook or any of these other social medias, right? It would be just on our website, and people would be able to post there for things like, hey, anyone know how to fix this thing with Blackmagic? Hey, anyone know how to unplug the Blackmagic camera from the charging port? You know, that was a problem that I had. I couldn't figure that out. It took a while. I had to Google quite a bit. So people could just post questions here about CTV, about the equipment. They can also use this as a way to get together and do more projects. So, hey, I really want to do this project. I have this cool idea for a project. But I need a second person with me on this. Is there anyone else that's interested in this? And so then there can be some going back and forth. I also think this would be a way to get people to start using the website a little bit more. And it's a way to get engagement with the membership without actually having to be in the studio. And so that's basically it. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go for it, Berna. I was done.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It sounds very exciting. What I wanted to ask was about, you know, how people can like, I guess it's like an ad blocker or spam blocker, or if it's like anybody can, you know, it's for the members and such, but is it going to be protected? So if we're not monitoring it every day and something weird comes up on there, that we can catch it? Or
no one would be able to post anything on there that wasn't a member. There's a login to be able to post. So you're not going to get spam comments. Is that the question?
yeah, just like inappropriate stuff, like, I don't know, porn advertisements or something, you know what I mean? Like stuff that the rest of us get,
Yeah.
and we're like, get out of here.
No, so only if they, you know, were a member would they get access to that.
Okay.
And I did actually include one of the charts I have on here is just the time requirements for things. And I was saying that, you know, the initial setup, I think would take up to 10 hours. It's kind of hard to tell on that. Depends how everything goes. updates as needed, so like an hour or less per update. So, but then, monitoring the forum, I'm thinking that we might need volunteers to do
Okay.
up to 10 hours a month. I mean, at first it would be very little, and it would just be, we would have to have volunteers that signed up to be the admins for the site.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Joe has his hand up.
Oh, Joe, yeah, I didn't, okay, Joe?
Okay, during all that, one thing that popped out was this, join the site thing. One of the things that we voted on back, I believe in March, was to remove this for it by month thing, and that the dues were annual. You pay $12 for a year. Okay, that hasn't been fixed. I don't know if Fawn is aware of that. I think it was brought up at meetings, but when we were discussing the webpage, but that needs to be fixed. Okay, right? The board voted that there's an annual dues, because what people have been doing is paying for 2 or 3 months at a time. Then their membership expires. Now we got to get in touch with them, say, are you going to renew or not? If they go for a year, we got less of that stuff. So, but the board did vote to do that, as you all may recall.
So are you talking about the, that it's $1 per month for the first year and then $12 per year? So it's not $1 per month for the first year, it's just whenever they sign up during the year, it's $12?
Yeah, they get a
Is that what you're
calendar
referring to?
year from whenever they sign up.
Okay, so it's a calendar year from when they sign up and not to renew on January 1st.
That's correct, yeah. Should,
Okay. Well,
okay,
we can definitely, I mean, that can be set up through the membership plugin. That's not a problem at all. And then it can be set to either auto renew them, or it can be set to prompt them to renew it at that point. And then if it wasn't renewed, they would lose access to the community and the other membership parts of the site.
right. But this is larger than that, because they would lose their studio privileges. And the bylaws say that you're only a member as long as your dues are current. And so it would be larger than just access to the website. It would be access to all of CTV, period.
Right, and
but
part of
again-
this would be that they would lose access to the membership part of the site, and the membership part of the site is where you would go, where we would have the links to reserve studio time. It's where we would have the links to reserve equipment and all of that stuff. So it would cut off their access to all of that through the website. We would also need to make sure that we're cutting off their access through, if they came to the studio, of course.
Yeah.
And
I
that would
don't
be
know if
separate from
you're-
this.
I don't know if the software that you're suggesting can do this, but if their membership expires, is there some kind of an auto notification by email to tell them to look it up again?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was just talking about. We can set it so that it will auto renew for
not
everybody,
auto. I
but
don't know.
we
if
can
want to auto
also.
renew as
But
opposed
what
to.
I was saying earlier
notify.
is that it can set it up to auto renew, or it can be set up to give them a notification that their membership is expiring and that they need to renew. And so we can set it up to do either of those things. And so it is absolutely capable of doing that. This
Okay,
is the
so
most
that makes it
popular.
much more attractive to me.
This is like the most popular by far membership plugin for WordPress sites. It's called MemberPress, and it's really big. It's, and I personally know people who use this for memberships on their own websites, and they swear by it.
Okay, that starts to make it look like something that we should do, so.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a membership. I really like that it gives us the ability to not show a lot of forms on our site, like to reserve studio time and to reserve equipment and stuff like that. I really like that it doesn't do that, but I think that the biggest thing for this is that it does give the ability to do it gives the ability to like manage the membership, sending out these notifications that their membership's going to expire and things like that.
Okay.
And
Anyone have questions? Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was looking at your proposal. So we're talking about $300 a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, for both the community and the plugin.
Well, that's not so bad.
And these are the nonprofit prices. I got a special, and I mean, if you think about this, I was actually speaking with my husband who does a lot of like in the tech world and stuff, and to have a hosted community on a forum for $10 a month. I mean, honestly, we couldn't even, buy a server and run a server for less than that that would run this. And this has a guaranteed uptime and everything as well. And I personally have
Okay.
used this on another through something else that I do. I've used this forum. One of the reasons that I liked this for us is that it's extremely simple. It's not like Facebook where you have a bunch of separate things all over the place and it gets kind of confusing how to use it. It's very straightforward. It kind of reminds me of going back to the 90s forum style a little bit, right?
It runs on
But it's not a
Discourse,
bad
right?
thing. Sorry, Kevin, what?
It runs on Discourse?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have some experience with that. See, I'm on like one or two places that use that. Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I think that this is Communitech or something. They used to be called Discourse Hosting. And so I think that a lot of the, so they would provide a URL for us that would be like, it would be like discoursehosting.com / CTV 29, something like that. And that's what we would be using. So we don't even have to like purchase a separate domain or anything like that to use it.
Okay, do we write code on their server that is the pages that they go visit?
So what it is they give us a portal to kind of manage it. We're not actually like writing any of the code. We're just choosing a few options, and there are plugins that you can get that work with this. As far as I can see, the plugins that they're talking about is not something that we would be interested in, but it will allow, I think that this plan size allows like 2 plugins to be used with it. But we don't write code on it. It just, we choose a few options and then it shows up on the site, and then we, all of the management of it, is done on that front end. It's done with a user interface and not in code.
Can we, for example, put a logo on those pages, the CTV
Yeah.
logo?
Yeah.
So in other words, we can, through their forms that we select the options, we can give it a CTV flavor while we're on their server. Is that correct? Okay. Good, groovy.
Yeah, it's not like branded like Discourse or something like that. It's branded, like the one that I use is called Project 24. And so on Project 20, it has, the page that you get on, and then at the top it says Project 24 forums, and then everything below that.
And you can import our existing database of members.
Yeah, I can, yeah, I should be able to just export it as a CSV file and upload it, and that should be fine.
Okay.
Other than that, I can pretty easily copy paste stuff too.
The membership list isn't that big, but it would be nice if it does take a CSV.
Yeah, I don't think that it has an integration to work with Airtable, the place I've got the membership list right now. But I could always, look at the different integrations and stuff. And I actually don't think I would want to do that. I think that it's important that when someone applies, we make sure that they've got that they live in Lane County before we give them access, and we make sure they're a real person and everything before we then give them a membership number and allow them access to everything. So I don't know that I would want it to do it automatically anyways.
Okay. In the past, there actually have been members who joined and simply contributed because they wanted to support a public access thing, even though they were outside of the Comcast area. So I'm not sure that we wanted, that's been a traditional policy, so I'm not sure we want to change that. But that's just a perspective on that. Because they're making a donation.
Sure. I mean, that's something that can be discussed, separate to this. Did anyone else have any questions? Or Kevin, did you want to tell them anything about the forum, since you've used that style before? That it's an open source software
it's,
that they have on there.
pretty standard discussion board kind of stuff. I don't think anybody had much trouble, going around. Plenty of places use that sort of thing now.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering if someone, did sign up out of the area, is that like something we can hold for moderation, and follow up on it and see if it is someone who wants to make a donation?
Oh yeah, that's what we would do. Like I mean, if anyone did that. Right now,
David
it just
Igle.
comes in there. Yeah.
Dave Igle, I got to interrupt. It's 2:28. Are we going to go offline in a couple minutes?
Dan?
I think we lost Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, you
Dan is
still with us?
sleeping.
I think
Is
Dan
Dan
has gone
sleeping?
offline.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So I just wanted to warn people, if it's 2:30, we're getting close.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, not to like move things on too much here, because we're not quite done here, but I would like to hear David D's like
Well, we need Dan to be
My
awake to give
proposal
him
requires
access.
my
Yeah, no.
proposal requires screen sharing. So
I know. Can somebody call him? Maybe his phone ringing will wake him up.
Yep,
Wait a
there he
minute,
is. We got him.
Oh, hi,
Dan.
Dan.
Join us.
There he is. Hi, Dan. Poor guy.
It's 2:29, Dan. It's 2:29, Dan.
Yeah, you fell asleep on us, Dan, and it's 2:30.
Yep. No, I'm still here. So, okay, so we're continuing on working on that. We are moving on to the next subject, website plugin for MemberPress.
That's what we've been discussing.
Okay, and then the Microsoft Teams personnel proposal demo.
Right.
Yeah,
It's-
so David needs access to share his screen. Do you remember how you did that before?
Well, I did on the computer, but I'm let's see, share content.
I'm not sure that we're done with the previous stuff
Yeah,
because we
we're not.
haven't had a motion.
Right.
I'm
So
talking,
Fawn,
Myrna.
Can you
talking.
make a motion for what you want?
Myrna, I was talking. Okay, so
Okay.
basically, if you want to do this, you need to make a motion, otherwise you can't spend the money.
Yes, I was just wondering if anyone had any other questions before I did that.
do
Maybe
we want to
can-
do that before we see the Teams proposal? Because there could be some overlap with what those two platforms accomplish.
Okay.
I'm fine with seeing that proposal, and then we can discuss if there's, if we don't need one of those. Now, I will say, David, if you're talking about giving access to like a forum style thing on Teams, it actually, it's only free up to 10 accounts. So I don't think that would actually be cost efficient.
And that was for nonprofits?
So like that highest level is only for up to 10 members.
Okay.
Right. So were you able to share your screen? Did Dan give you access?
It still says it's disabled.
See, it says share content, screen, photos, iCloud Drive.
Dan, you'd have to go to settings because that's for you to share from your screen. So you'd have to go to your Zoom settings, and there should be settings within the meeting that you can allow access for
Okay,
somebody else to
yeah,
screen share.
meeting, okay, meeting settings. Hosting, let's see. Show non-video participants. Show name when, no, let's see. What am I looking for, David D? What's the verbiage?
So there should be a security option. And in that security option, there should be an option to toggle screen sharing for individual users or for everybody.
I'm not seeing that.
Did I do that? Yeah.
Show incoming video.
What if I do this? Can you explode it?
I'm not seeing anything about security as I'm under meeting settings. Meeting topic, mute upon entry, play, join and leave sound. Always show meeting controls, touch up my appearance. Show name when participants join. Show non-video participants. Show self-view, stop incoming video. Show my connected time. I don't know. Where do I go from here?
You're on an iPad, Dan?
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, I'm probably thinking the same thing you are, Verna. We might want to move this to either a special meeting or a future session.
Well, I was just gonna suggest that he clicks on leave, and when you click on leave, it says that you have to give co-hosting to somebody else. Maybe he could give it to you directly. Can you do that, Dan? On the lower right, there's leave the meeting and click on that.
No. I've got switch camera, Bluetooth, switch to gallery view. I'm not seeing anything like I'm hearing.
You don't see a red leave, like leave the meeting button?
No, I have a red button that says end. We don't want to end the
Okay,
meeting.
yeah, well,
No,
yeah.
that ends the meeting, doesn't it?
Okay. I think David suggested that we table this until we work out the technical issues.
Okay.
Was
Hey,
that
David,
the
maybe you can even just talk about, instead of like tabling it, because I want to get this going immediately and start using it. I want to take a vote on this because you guys, this is free. We can get this for free, okay? And this
Okay.
is going to make our lives so much easier. So maybe David can talk about it a little bit because he knows more about it. And then maybe we don't need to actually see it.
Well, I can also invite everybody. So I created a full ecosystem for CTV within a private instance of Teams to kind of showcase all the different features. But basically, I think a lot of the struggles that we face in these meetings and as a body come from the fact that we don't have a centralized hub for all of our documents where we can collaborate on them, things like that. And this would be a way to do that and have everybody, logged in to a single place where if we have a document like the bylaws document, rather than, discussing what needs to change about those documents or, comments, feedback when we're making letters to LCOG, things like that, we can all see that together and, highlight sections of it, comment on it, say, this should change. This is the wrong thing to put here. Joe can command all and say that he doesn't like the whole thing, right? So we can have it in a collaborative place where we're getting kind of direct feedback on very specific parts of the document and have all those documents in one place. So that way they're not kind of bouncing back and forth in emails like they are right now, which runs the risk of, like, if we just do a quick search in an email, we might get the wrong version of a document, right? We might not be working with the 12.5 version of the letter. We might be working with, a November version of the letter or something like that. It enforces document control. There's also a task list, so we can assign different tasks. So I created a task list in our instance of Teams, and I've got 2 dummy tasks in there right now. They're based on real tasks. So I have a task assigned to Kevin that says CTV cameras. It shows the status. It shows any obstacles that need to be alleviated before Kevin can complete that task. I have the LCOG letter in there as another task. That one's marked as in progress. And you can assign owners to those different tasks. And then also as a meeting space, I don't know what we're paying for Zoom right now. This Teams meeting option would be free. And it has all the same functionality with additional things like whiteboards, breakout groups, a lot of bells and whistles that you don't necessarily get from, vanilla Zoom. So there's a lot of stuff in there. I broke it out in different components in the proposal document that I shared with the board. I'm going to invite everybody to sample this ecosystem that I built, and you can play around in there. You can, make changes to documents. It's all boilerplate. There's nothing in there that you're going to damage.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you for that, David.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, that was the last agenda item. Any more discussion on
Okay,
that?
so we need to decide if we want to do a vote on the teams or if we want to try it out on his on this other version that he's created.
Yeah.
Do we want to, since it is
Mhm.
free, I'll even make a motion that we just go ahead and get it set up. And then if it doesn't work out, we can always just cancel it.
I'll second your motion.
Any more discussion? If not,
Hold on
Go
a
ahead,
second.
Joe.
Was that to pay money? Because I didn't hear a figure in that proposal.
It's
Free
free.
for up to 10 people.
Well, this one is free, but yours, you said you wanted to do them together, and so I thought this was a proposal for all three. You've got three items on there, and you said you wanted to hear his thing before you voted on yours. So how does his interfere with yours?
He was just saying that some of the features might, overlap, but I don't think that enough of the features would overlap. And I don't think we wouldn't be getting everybody in the membership a Teams account. It would be just for the board, I believe.
Okay. Now, you've been putting documents on Google Docs, so this is going to replace all of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do we
And
need
it
to
would
have,
actually save us money. So what he was saying is that since we're paying, I assume that we're paying for Zoom right now, then we would be able to then cancel that account and just use this Teams account since we can do the meetings there.
okay,
So not only is it
Look-
free, it would actually save money.
Yeah, I
And
did-
be really
I
useful.
did read the proposal, so,
okay, so what are we, are we tabling or moving, or what are we doing here then?
I
think
believe there's a
motion
motion on the table.
Yeah, I think there's a
Okay.
motion to do to do three Microsoft Teams.
No, it's just the Microsoft Teams. So the vote is
Yeah, it's
just to
item
get
number
that
3.
ongoing. Okay.
Item number 3.
Okay, so we have a motion up. Do we have a second?
Yes. Ben,
Okay, I guess we've had a discussion, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now we're down to new business. Any new business?
Well, that's actually not on the agenda, and there's a couple of other things that are on the agenda. One is we haven't discussed minutes, so we have several sets of minutes that have not
Yes.
yet been approved.
I realize that, Joe. I do want to say that we also haven't voted on the other proposals that we discussed. So I believe we either need to say that people need more time to think about it and we need to table it for next time so everyone can look at the proposals, or we need to take a vote on those.
I would agree.
Okay, so
so can I just ask a question on, Dan, can you recognize?
yes, Joe, yes, go ahead, Brenna.
Thank you. So Fawn, the proposal that you want is for, I think Kevin said like less than $300 a year so that you can manage our membership.
Yeah, it's for a online forum.
Okay.
So that would be similar to a Facebook group sort of thing, but it has more control and it's on our own website and there's no ads or anything like that on there.
Right.
And then, so that's one item and that's $120 a year. And then the other one is about 180 a year. And that is for a plugin to manage the membership. So the membership plugin on the website is the 180 a year. And then the online forum is 120 per year.
Okay.
So,
I think Joe was wanting to say something.
Yeah, I
Yes.
guess one of the things is who gets to put out mailings to the membership? How can we deal with that?
Well, we've always, I mean, I assume that the board has always approved any mailings that are going out to the membership. Is that?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so then that's how we would still do it with this, but so instead of the current way it's done where we approve it and it's sent out via email and
Yep.
snail mail, we would then approve it and send it out through the membership plugin and through snail mail.
Okay. Just out of interest, when it sends stuff through the membership plugin, does it create individual emails or does it bulk email them? Because one of the problems with bulk email, which was a problem back a year ago, was that when we sent bulk emails, a lot of that stuff just went into people's spam buckets. So will it do that? It's just a question. If you don't know, that's fine, but that's just a question about that would be of concern.
and David D, I just saw a note from you flash up and I didn't see it in time. It's gone again. So what were you saying?
So basically what he's saying,
No.
and I actually, so David, yeah, that is for the lowest tier, and I didn't know what tier we would want to be on, but we can actually do the highest tier with up to 10 people. And I do think that that even if we do that lowest tier and we're able to give the membership accounts on Teams, I still think that the forum would be the best option. If we did end up getting more than 300 members, if we did end up, it's just right there on the website and it's not through a separate item. I just think that might be the easiest.
Well, okay. I don't know where to go from here. Where are we at now?
We're trying to figure out if we're going, so we're trying to figure out, do we want to vote on whether to use the membership plugin and the online forum, or do people need some more time to think about it and look at the proposal?
I think the proper motion is to spend $300 to buy this stuff.
I agree. I'll second that.
Yep.
Let's get moving on that.
All right.
So you have to make.
Okay.
All right, well, I make a motion that we buy the member press plugin and the Communitech online community forum, hosted forum, which is
Okay.
$300 per year.
And Runa, that ties in with what you proposed, right?
Yeah, I can go ahead and just second that.
Okay, there you go. All right, any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 David?
Aye.
Okay, I'll make it unanimous.
Okay, now the Microsoft proposal, are we,
We already
We
voted
already
on that.
voted.
okay, then that's okay. Any more new business?
It went up like this before.
If not, meeting date. When's a good time for the next meeting? And will it be a special LCOG meeting, bylaw meeting? Or what are we doing on that? Any ideas? Do we,
So if
I
I'm
think
correct,
that, sorry, go ahead.
okay,
Joe?
if I'm correct, what's going to happen is you're going to put the LCOG contract text up on the Microsoft thing. Is that correct? David? David D?
David D?
Okay, are you going to be putting the LCOG contract existing text onto the Microsoft Teams thing?
Yes, it's going to be on our SharePoint.
Okay, and we will all have a some kind of email that tells us how to log into this thing, like ASAP.
Yes, and during, if we want to section off some time during the next meeting, I can give everybody a walkthrough on how to get in there.
Well, I would like to review the text prior to that. I mean, the last version of it hasn't changed very much, and I think pretty much the last time I looked at it, I was the only person who commented on it. But I guess we'll start a new set of comments on the current text.
I
Okay.
believe that David and I are going to need some information on to be able to get access to the to verify the nonprofit status and everything to get these set up. So it might take a few days to go through that process. I'll start an email with me, David D, and Dan after the meeting, so that we can make sure to get all of that correct information.
Okay.
So for the next meeting, I think that it should be after the first of the year. Because next week is, you know, Christmas and all that kind of stuff, so.
Next week, I'm working Monday through Friday.
I don't think we should do it next week. Let's have a break, guys. Have a good Christmas. I am out of town, coming back on the 2nd of January.
I'm open to that first week in January. I would also like some time off, please.
Sure, it's just that as of right now, I have no idea what my schedule is going to be that week. I mean, once I know, I'll tell everybody. But yeah, at the moment, I just my schedule could be different that week.
You know, is anyone, I guess I guess the evenings wouldn't really be the best though. Sorry.
Well, I guess we could leave it open and communicate by email to set up the next meeting after we say after Kevin gets his work schedule, perhaps. Is that agreeable to everybody?
Fine
Yes,
with
and
me.
then, so we'll just do that over email. And then did everyone get a chance to look at all of the previous meeting minutes that need to be approved?
Well, I don't think we need to do it today. I think it needs to be set up in the agenda and done on the next one. And we're at the end of the meeting.
Well, personally, I'm okay to go ahead. So if other people are ready to move on that, we can do it and then you can post them up.
I'm not.
Okay.
I think people that need to have that stuff put into place where we can all find it and review this material.
I mean, everybody's had all the minutes for quite a while already.
Anybody else have any reason to delay? You know.
Has everyone read all of the minutes? Do we have a list? Do we have a listing of all the minutes that have not yet been approved?
Yeah, 11:14, 11:28, 12:05, and 12:11 all need to be approved.
Okay.
11:14 and what?
11:14, 11:28, 12:05, 12:11.
Mhm.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
So am I hearing like nobody's looked at them other than me and Fawn by this point? Is that what I'm
I've
hearing?
looked at all of them.
Okay. Anybody else have any reason to delay a vote on passing the minutes?
David D, I think I sent all of them to you. Did you get those? I sent out so many documents to you. I'm sure they just kind of got lost in there.
Yeah, I saw them.
Why are so many mini soldiers?
How about David Igo, Kevin? I'm just trying to get a polling here. People have seen them.
But too many.
I haven't spent much time on them. I'd rather postpone.
No, I don't think I've seen all of them.
I think they all need to be sent out again or possibly put up on this new thing and get us to the point where we look at them up there and then move on it.
We can
I
move
think
on it,
that's
right?
probably,
Right. From the emails, we can move on it by email, right?
why don't we put them up and do them at the next meeting? So there actually is an agenda item on the agenda to talk about the minutes. Because there is no agenda item now, and so we should set that up for the next meeting and put those documents on the Microsoft Teams site so that we can all review them.
Yeah,
That would
they
be-
should have been on here. It was an oversight on my part that they did not get on here.
Okay,
A red house.
All right, let's deal with it next time.
Choose a color on.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
So
I'll
we
send
need to
out the
make-
meeting minutes just in the next few days.
okay.
I'll
And
send
the
out these meeting minutes, and then I'll also I'll find all those previous ones, so you guys will get 5 sets of minutes, and I'll do that at some point this week.
And
Thank
we
you.
also have the topic of our next meeting. There was some discussion that it was going to LCOG contract only. Do we want to do that, or do we want to have a general meeting and then have another LCOG contract meeting?
I think since we'll have broken for several weeks at that point, we should probably have a general meeting first, but that's just my opinion.
I can accept that. It's just, we at some point have to get the LCOG contract finished.
I think that when David Art had already invited me to the Teams thing that he had set up, and I think that these contracts might be best done on there. There's a function where you can share, like, so if we even just shared each piece of the document, say, you know, here, if it was the bylaws discussion and it was like, here's the section on, here's the purpose clause, you know, and here's the original, here's this version, and then you can set up a poll to vote.
Okay.
And so then we'd be able to set up each section and just a poll to vote, and then it should be real easy to do on there. And so I say we take all of those, all the contract discussions and everything should go right over there.
It's time for you.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question of whether we're going to have a general meeting or a specific LCOG contract. I think the consensus was that we were going to have a general meeting. Will be the next meeting. Is that the consensus of the group?
No, I'm always.
Well, here's my 2 cents worth. I think we do need to have a general meeting first, but then we need to carve out enough time to move on this LCOG contract at the same meeting, whatever you want to call it. I think we need to do 2 things.
That's true. We have to do everything. The question is, are we having a general meeting or an LCOG contract meeting? What is the agenda for the next meeting going to say? LCOG contract or a whole list of things? One or the other.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both.
I'm gonna wear armor like that.
I think it should be a general meeting.
I think it should be a
Well,
general meeting as well,
I
and
do
we can
too.
discuss then if we want to have another meeting for the LCOG contract specifically.
Soldiers.
Yeah, I agree with Fawn on that. That's probably the way to go. Next meeting be general meeting, and then hopefully it won't be too long after that, we could have another meeting and then do the contract.
Mary, ready for battle?
That's the answer. That's the answer, and I'm fine with that.
Are you ready for battle?
I just want to say it seems like a delay, but that's okay. I'll go with the general.
Well, the thing is, Brian, the idea,
How are you defeating my houses?
we start handling regular business, we burn up almost a whole meeting before we even get to either LCOG or the, or the bylaws. So
Right,
therefore, that's why I say do a general meeting and then we can do a meeting where we can focus on specific
Okay.
items to get them done.
Okay, if I may, Mr. President and Chairman, we are getting, in January, we are getting into election territory, which is even more important, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have time management issues with our committee because we're all so talkative. And I'm feeling like if we can do this shared documents team style and free up Fawn to do all the membership things, that maybe when we coalesce again in early January, we can move on election stuff because she's had a chance to do her membership stuff. And we're just gonna have to like get concise because our timeline is constrained, and then we're gonna have 5 seats up for election. Only me and David Igle that are carrying over next time.
Fawn, could you mute? Fawn, could you mute, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Could you mute, please?
Yes,
You're getting all your background noise from you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, she did that.
Go ahead, Verna.
Well,
Are you done?
I was just saying, I think we need to be more concise because there's only so much time in January to get ourselves lined up for a home run for our February election.
That's a good point, and no
So
doubt.
if we can maybe, I'm just asking to think about it, if we can start using voting by email on some of the less significant issues, maybe that will be helpful for the next 2 months.
No, I see merit in that, except who picks the issues. But well, so anyway, the point is, the next meeting, what do we want to do? So anybody want to make a motion on the next meeting, whether it'll be a general meeting or not?
I thought we had reached consensus that it was a general meeting.
It seems like we did, but Verna's bringing up a whatever. So I just want to make sure we're on the
They
same
make a
track.
motion. Okay, I'll make a motion that the next meeting is a general meeting.
Verna, can you hear me?
Verna, your audio's not working, so you might try turning off the video.
Yeah, I know. I apologize. All right. All right. So I'm just saying, I just think we need to move like whatever the meeting is next time is what I'm saying. We can also do email business that doesn't have to like show up at the next meeting. If we can agree maybe to look at our emails and move a couple things forward, then that would be a good thing as well. It's like we can walk and chew gum at the same time. That's all I'm trying to say.
Once we have the Teams environment set up, I think we'll be able to move a lot faster on that. There are some things I need to do that though, so I'll reach out to the board for those things. Like I need our.
And I appreciate David D because he gave us a timeline in his email where he would be able to execute what he is suggesting. And it's just that we're running up on election and we're going to have 5 empty seats. So that's my consideration as a rollover board member, and David Igle is also a rollover board member.
Do we want to try to commit to 2 meetings the first week that we're back, one general meeting, and then later in that same week, a LCOG focal meeting?
I could commit to that myself.
Okay, we have a motion up for.
I can't commit to that. I can't do that. I'm so sorry, guys. My kid is been homeschooled for 4 years, and he's starting public school the second Monday in January, and I'm just going to be so busy that week.
Okay, fair enough. So maybe we get as much done in the next 2 weeks because a number of us have some extra free time, and then we can just put it forward to those other members of the board. And in that first meeting we're able to get to as a general meeting in January, we'll just put all of our work, like independent committee people, put them forward and see where we are. I could calm down with that.
Yeah, I think that I think that that's what we've all been kind of saying is, we're going to get this Teams environment set up, and then we're going to be able to, work on things outside the meeting. And let's just come back at that first meeting of the year and really just try to see where we're at. And then we can, set up other meetings as needed at that point.
So the motion is, the next meeting will be a general meeting. So it sounds like we're pretty much going that way, way I got it. And there's a motion up. Did we get a second on that?
I'll second it.
All right, and we've had a discussion. Any more discussion? If not, then the second meeting, the next meeting will be general meeting then. I guess we're all agreed on that. And the date again was what again?
We're waiting
Oh,
for Kevin's schedule.
We're waiting for Kevin. That's right.
We
That's what I
have
was
no
thinking.
date at this time.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so we'll figure it out later on email then. Good. So good to know. Any more business? I think we're done for the day if I figured it out right. We look forward to getting information from David D and trying to get this thing smoothed out and operate smoother. So appreciate everybody's efforts. Great meeting. And if no further ado, I think we need to cancel this end of the meeting.
Just
Happy
real quick,
holidays. Yes,
Verna, I'm
David.
going to be heading to CTV at 4:30.
Yeah, I'll be there around 4, but I'll certainly be there for 4:30.
Okay,
so
all right,
I'll
thank you.
call if you're coming over. Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay,
Dan, will you
great.
send out the recording notice?
Yes, I
Yeah.
will do that. Yep. Okay, everybody. Well, happy holidays. And I appreciate
David,
it.
do you need anything from me today then?
If Verna's going to be
DVD.
there to get me in, I can start playing around with the Macs today. So
Okay,
I just need somebody to get me in there.
cool.
All right. See you guys next year.
Okay, you bet.
You bet.
All
Adios.
right.
Thank you,
Adios,
everyone.
everybody.